Hi everybody, it's Stacy from PeonyLaneDesigns.com. Have you subscribed to the channel yet? If not, click that link below because we're going to work on this, starting from the very beginning. Hello, Junkin' buddies. Been a while since I've been in the she shop. In the she shop, you can see the tools back there. And like these stools have needed to get done for a really long time. I haven't felt like it. Not gonna lie, I'm way behind. Picked this little lovely up at a thrift store, a charity shop near my daughter's school for 15 bucks. It's a waterfall wardrobe, clearly. I mean, it's bigger than I am. And I'll pop up pictures of the full thing. It was in a teenage girl's bedroom. I know because her mother works at the thrift store and she was the one who brought it there. And the girl painted it gold over the original cherry finish. And the doors are lovely turquoise, and she removed the mirrors. I don't know if the mirrors were damaged or what. She didn't really explain. It was white, is my understanding. I can actually see some spots where I still see the white paint. And the mother said that she doesn't believe her daughter did the best job painting or preparing the surface. So since I forget that a lot of you don't have the benefit of growing up with the OG and learning to do all this stuff from birth, pretty much, you know, it's like, oh, look, a helper. That's a whole different set of stories. If I'm going to tell stories, it's going to be over on the website. So go to PeonyLaneDesigns.com. Maybe I'll share some stories of growing up OG. Coming, Dad. Just be prepared. I forget that a lot of you don't know just the plain basics of preparing a surface for a new paint job. And what do you do when you've got a surface that you're not sure if the person did the proper preparation? I mean, I know her daughter didn't do the proper preparation because she told me she didn't. I'm a little fortunate because I actually was told she didn't do all the steps she needed to do to make this stick for a long time. I'm going to show you what to look for to make sure you know whether or not you have to do a little extra prep work on these things, and what we're going to do to fix this sucker up. This thing is going to be gorgeous when it's done. I'm not underselling this. This thing is in solid. It is rock solid. I don't have to repair it. You know, I get so sick of having to fix loose, wobbly joints, and that's not fun. Making it pretty is fun. This is the fun parts. When you find a good, solid piece of furniture that just needs to be loved, this is what you need to do to it. So we're going to start. Stay tuned. We're going to get this sucker fixed up, and somebody's going to love it, and she's going to get a good home. It's true. She's going to find a new mommy who's going to love her. All right. Okay, so since this video is specifically designed for somebody who doesn't have the benefit of knowing exactly what they're doing, not that I do have the benefit of knowing exactly what I'm doing. Sometimes I still don't know what I'm doing. It's okay. We'll get through it. It's fine. I'm going to start with sandpaper because here's the thing. If you walk into a hardware store and you're just like a very basic beginner, you're going to walk into this huge display of sandpaper and you're like, which one do I need? Because it comes in different grits and different types and different kinds, and there's all this stuff and you're like, help me, you know. And then of course there's, if you're like me, so they automatically see that you're a girl, and then you walk in there and it's like, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing. Well, they're surprised because I kind of know sometimes more than they do. But telling you, the last bastion of sexism besides Hollywood. Okay, so we're moving on from that. But you can, get a little overwhelmed. So what do you need to prep a surface? That's basically the question you're asking, right? I mean, they come in sanding blocks. which come in different grits. So this is a medium grit sanding block that I have. This is sort of an all-purpose general sanding block. It actually has a coarser grit on one side and then a finer medium grit, two different kinds of medium grits. We're not going to use that. There is a 120 grit. This is actually fantastic for prepping your surface. 100, 120, that's where you want to get, because what you want to do is just scuff up the surface to get a texture that the paint can hold on to. Now, I know that doesn't make sense, but think of it like you've got ice and you throw sand down on it so that you have a surface to not slide off of. So we're prepping this surface to make sure that the paint doesn't just come off, all right? So we're just kind of rough it up, but sandpaper also comes in like a 60 coarse grit. So the lower the number, the coarser the grit. You don't want this. This is gonna take it down to bare wood, and that's not what we're going for here. There are situations where you're gonna wanna take paint off all the way down to the wood, then fine. But you're gonna need to follow this up. If you're doing a finished surface and you use this, you're gonna need to follow it up with a finer grit later to take that texture back down, because this will leave a deep texture in your wood. So don't get the low numbers. Right now we're gonna go for the 100, 120, like I said. So it also comes in a 150 grit. I mean, there's a bunch of different grits. So this is also a pretty decent texture. And then we have like a 220. So this is a super fine, this is a finishing sand or a wet sand. You don't need this right now. You probably won't need it on something like this at all. I mean, that's when you want to go for like a super shiny, really flat surface. I very rarely use this. So just, and it also comes in scuff pads. So this is a scuff pad, looks like a Scotch-Brite pad. You can get these at the hardware store with the sandpaper. I'm probably going to use this for this project. If you go, which one's best? Sanding block, scuff pad, sandpaper? Here's the truth. It doesn't matter. They all do the same job. Okay? For this, it doesn't matter. And there's going to be somebody out there that's like, no, only do it my way. This is the best way. It's the only way. My husband's like that. But opinions are like, everybody's got one. Doesn't make them right. Okay? And this is my opinion. They all do the same job. Just make sure you get the right grit. So you're gonna wanna go with a finer grit or a softer, like scuff pad type thing. Or if you're doing a sanding block, this is a super fine textured sanding block. It's not real deep. And if you run your finger over the sandpaper, all of the sandpapers have a window that you can run your finger over it. If it's super coarse, it's not what you want for this, okay? You want a 120, 100 grit, even a 150. That's still getting a little too fine. I'd go with a 120. Or a scuff pad, which is what I'm gonna use. Now let's get you close to this so you can see what to look for to make sure you can just sand it and not have to do more prep work. Okay, now you get a really great close-up of the two paint jobs that the girl did. So you can see up here in the corner, she's missed some places. She wasn't the greatest painter. What I look for when I look at a surface is I will take it and I will run my finger like this. She actually did a pretty decent job. I mean, this is not flaking off. It must have had a really good surface to adhere to. My guess is it was like a white chalk paint or something underneath there. But this is not coming off super easy. So it's actually a really good base to start with. I'm not at all concerned. I even took a little sandpaper up here. I hit it with some sandpaper to see if this would start flaking up here. For those of you worried about your manicure, you can certainly do this with like a little scraper or the edge of a blank screwdriver. Don't gouge the wood, but you can just sort of run the screwdriver along there and see if it comes off easily. Now let's check the gold. Here's the white. You can see up here. We've got white peeking through, but that looks like where she just missed painting, because I am literally taking the edge of that gold and yanking down, and this is not flaking off. So it looks like her mother was wrong. Don't tell her that her mother was wrong. But this surface itself looks like, let's see, I run the Scuff Pad over it. How's it go? Yeah, I mean, it's sticking pretty well. Maybe I might have to get a little more aggressive with the gold. She did tell me that this was the Rust-Oleum Metallic, and I have a video. I could put the link in the cards over here, I believe, and show you how I did a surface in the silver metallic from Rust-Oleum and how I prepped that surface. That was actually a laminate that I did that on, and it is holding up really well at my hairdresser. She scrubs it and it's still holding together. So let's get this surface prepped and we'll get to painting. Okay, so in a past video, I got dinged for not wearing this. And it's usually because I'm talking and you don't really hear the Darth Vader. You can't really hear me talk when I'm wearing this, but I will tell you when I'm sanding and it's like a big project. This is more than just a good idea. You should absolutely wear these. A lot of the times there are tannins, there are carcinogens, there are things in old surfaces you do not want to be breathing in, and it saves you from picking out, you know, paint boogers all night long. So let's just use the safety equipment that they provide for us. So if you don't have one of these, get a dust mask. So they're paper dust masks. They only cost a couple bucks. You can even get them at Dollar Tree. So just protect your lungs. It's more than just a good idea. Okay, so another thing that I had done here was I actually put the milk paint that I'm going to use right over the top of the gold to test it. So I had sanded a little piece of this and just tried it out. I mean, it's sticking really good. So this is not going to be a problem to paint. And I can feel right here that it has a texture, a really good texture on it anyway. So we're just gonna scuff up. Basically what the Scuff Pad is doing is you've got all these wonderful little fibers on here, and that paint, that flat surface, is just getting tiny little scratch marks in it that aren't really most of the time visible to the eye, but it's enough to grab that paint and hold it tight. So you want to do this for most surfaces. Some of them, like the laminate, I am way more aggressive. I will use a sander and a higher grit sandpaper to make sure that my paint sticks. And I know chalk paint is like, you don't have to sand, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes it's still a really good idea. You will never be sorry you over prepped a surface. Let's put it that way. You will be sorry you under prepped a surface, but you will never, ever, ever. And that can mean sanding and priming. In some cases, a high-tack primer is needed. Like on the laminate, I sanded it and then I used a high-tack primer. Now, a high-tack primer is a primer that stays sticky to hold the additional paint that you're putting on top of it. So I sanded the laminate, put the high-tack primer on, and Kills does sell a high-tack primer. I think Lowe's has it. Not sponsored by Kills or Lowe's. My daughter keeps reminding me I'm supposed to say that. They do. If you go online and look up high-tack, Kills high-tack primer, you will find it, and they will have, you know, a location thing on their website so you can find where it's available near you. And I guarantee you will never be sorry you over prepped the surface. So this though is going to hold our paint just fine. Okay. See, and I'm remembering things as I go. I'm going against the grain, not with the grain, because I want to create scuff marks. So I'm going back and forth against this grain. If this was a finished sand, you'd want to go with the grain to make it as smooth as possible. I'm going against the grain. Go against the grain. It's just one of those good life lessons. Now I'm going to finish scuffing this up. Okay, Okay, this piece is giving me lots of opportunity for training for you guys. There is a nick on the bottom of this that is similar to this nick. Do you see? It's actually fairly deep. Now, if you want a smooth surface, if you don't care that it has some character, then fine, go ahead over, paint over that. I'm not going to. I'm going to smooth it out. And what you're going to want to do is I'm going to take the medium grit sandpaper, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to rub that down. And put this up here. Ooh, so I try not to hit that. So I'm going to rub this down. Rub it along the edge of the scrape. But now it's got a coarse feeling to it. So I'm going to take, after the medium, I'm going to take my 150 fine and smooth that out. Yes, I have gotten slivers doing this before. It happens. Not gonna lie. Okay, now it's perfectly smooth. So when I paint over this, you're not gonna see that. And that's what I wanted. I wanted this to blend seamlessly with the rest of the piece. So I'm gonna show you on this deep gouge, because let's face it, it happens. This thing is from the 1930s. We're almost to the 2030s. It happens really quick, guys. I'm not lying. I mean, we're at 2020, we had 10 years, and this thing's gonna be 100 years old. So the fact that it's gotten this far with just a few nicks that it's got is pretty amazing. But I'm gonna get you guys, it's on the floor, because of course, this is where you grab this thing and you kick, kick a big hole in it, because you're moving furniture around, you're doing whatever, and it got a nick in the bottom, and it's pretty deep. So I'm gonna get the medium grit and the fine grit, and I'm gonna show you sanding it out so that it's nice and smooth. Okay, there it is. So you can see it's a pretty deep gouge. I'm gonna wanna get my medium grit, and I'm sorry, I don't have a tripod low enough for this. I'm gonna sand it out. Okay, see, so now my nail is not sticking. Now I'm gonna get the fine grit. Okay, so now I've got the fine grit, 150 grit, and I'm gonna blend it in. So this is basically feathering that paint job. And I apologize, there is someone working in my basement right now, and they've got an air compressor going, so it is a bit noisy. Okay, so now we have feathered out that paint finish, so you can actually see it went down to the paint that was underneath it and the wood, but I'm not getting like my nail is not sticking. So you will barely be able to see this. You see it now, but you won't see it when we get paint on it. So that's how you feather out a divot like that. Okay, so when I did this, before you saw the blue paint on my hand, you can see all the dust particles that are left on my hand. This is where the old guard would say,
you gotta go get a tack cloth or a cheesecloth, and then you're gonna wipe the surface down.
And that's when the beginner goes,
you gotta go back to the hardware store.
Because you didn't know to buy the cheesecloth. You don't have to buy the cheesecloth. Water, cloth. Just get a damp rag and wipe those particles off. And that's all you really need to do. And again, this is like the opinion thing, opinions, and there's gonna be people that are like, no. There's only the one way to do it. Now you can do it this way. Give it a bath. You can actually see it's pulling up that dust just fine. Don't sweat it. So if you can save yourself a little money, I would save it in the cheesecloth. Frankly, I don't use it. I have gotten some at garage sales and then I will use it, but it's really sticky and I don't like the way it feels on my hands, so I just use the damp cloth. Okay, now you're gonna wanna make sure that the water that you used on here, if you used a little too much water, is completely dry before you start painting. But that's how you prep a surface. It's essentially ready to go. So I am ready to get started on this piece. And if you want to see how it's going to come together, then you're going to have to subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Check back frequently. Click that bell icon to be notified. If you want to comment and ask some questions, I am happy to answer your questions. To all the trolls out there who say you're doing it wrong, too bad. This is how I do it, and it's worked just fine. And I sell a lot of furniture and I've had no complaints. So we're gonna just move forward from that, and you're just gonna have to deal with the fact that this is how I do it. This is how we do it. Anyway, I'm gonna give this thing a wonderful robin's egg paint job. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do coming up to replace the mirrors that the person before me took out. And yeah, it's gonna be beautiful. Wait till you see the finished product. I'm excited because in my head I can see it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy junkin'. Bye. Visit my blog, peonylanedesigns.com, for more tips, tricks, and inspiration. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll be notified of new videos. I post every week DIY tutorials and, of course, more junkin' videos.